the arsonist brings us a cup of water, my friends. We should be grateful. This country has been sullied in such a way that you can't repair in just one term that we have coming up with Joe Biden. Because that's still what's going to happen. Joe Biden is still going to be inaugurated on January 20th. This feeble attempt by the terrorists who have stormed the Capitol is just that. It is quite the spectacle to watch and still see people on social media, friends, grifters, still not getting it, still not understanding it. It is disgraceful beyond all means. You still have the typical grifters like, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, grifting, Tim Pool, grifting out insane things that we'll touch on Twitter. But then, to make matters worse, when you go on, Facebook or Twitter, wherever you actually know people on your friends list in the real world, and you see them still not understanding what the hell is going on because they have been completely indoctrinated into a cult. This is what happens when you have people who spend too much time on Facebook, not enough time understanding how to critically think and understanding how to parse through the garbage that has been fed to them for the last 4 years by a mentally ill orange con man in the White House. At points today, it has left me completely speechless to see some people who, again, like I said, I'm not the only one who sees people that they know actually in real life, making comments that will live on in perpetuity on the internet, letting us all know how awful or deranged or just flat out stupid you really are. And where do we go from here now? How do we coexist with these people? Because in a healthy, functioning democracy, the millions of people who have the mindset that brought them to storm the Capitol and the people who apologize for it or agree with them are a problem for the rest of us. We have to find a way to reach them because they're not going anywhere. And there are some that are completely unreachable. These people need to be weeded out and ostracized from our society and democracy. They need to be mocked into submission until you function in reality. Then you can come back and join the rest of us. But these people have no place in our politics. None. I'm appalled by much of what I've seen. Again, more so from the people I actually know, and less so by the lunatics storming the Capitol and sitting in Nancy Pelosi's office or standing on the floor of the Capitol building as if, they are speaker. You wish you could say to these people, like, how did you not see this coming? Over 4 years now of a fire hose of lies and delusions and conspiratorial thinking has been pointed at this country by a con man and then his enablers and grifters and greedy self-serving politicians have done nothing but turn a blind eye or profit from it or gain some sort of power, self-enrichment, has all culminated to this moment. And how did these people not see this coming? And for those who saw it coming and wanted it, These people are your enemy. There's really no other way to put it. They are your enemy. For the people who saw this coming and hoped it would come to this and are hoping for worse, these people are your enemy. Now, we can find ways to mend relationships, of course. We can find ways to just go our separate ways and kind of, again, wash your hands. It is imperative that these people are completely ostracized from political life in this country. And one of the only ways we can do that is you have to vote in every election. You know, in the silver lining of this whole thing might be that Donald Trump has actually reinvigorated millions of people in this country to not once but twice, as I punch my mic in enthusiasm, to go to the polls in numbers like we haven't seen during a 100-year pandemic that has actually killed over 300,000 people. Americans are willing to risk their life and the lives of their loved ones to make sure the right people get voted in and the wrong people get voted out. So there's a silver lining in that, but we have to keep up the pressure. The only thing that needs to happen is you keep voting the Republicans and the GOP, every single one of them who enabled this garbage circus, vote them out. They deserve to be nowhere near Washington, D.C. Vote them all out. The energy that you saw during the presidential election, the energy that was brought to the polls and all throughout Georgia yesterday, bring that energy to every election, local as well. If these people have enabled Donald Trump since the beginning and they've grifted off of his grift, or they buy into everything he says wholeheartedly, they agree with him, whatever it may be, if they are a politician running for office, you need to get yourself and a bunch of your friends and vote them out. Because it's going to be very hard to change their minds, but we will beat them into submission at the polls, and that will change their minds eventually. Let's take a look at some of the grifting, actually, that's going on Ivanka Trump. Now, she deleted this tweet probably because somebody told her, "What the hell are you doing?" She had the nerve to call the terrorists who stormed the Capitol American patriots. American patriots. These people were waving the Confederate flag inside the Capitol building. They're the exact opposite of American patriots. This is what I mean. This is the lunacy that we are dealing with. This is the President of the United States, the arsonist, bringing a cup of water. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of the country. Stay peaceful. The arsonist brings us a cup of water, my friends. We should be grateful. Here's the wonderful Candace Owens. Instead of just coming right out and condemning this insane terrorist movement by the lunatics in Washington, she has to draw comparisons to Antifa and potentially the media spinning at them as peaceful protesters. This is the type of stuff that has just been another drop on the pile that has gotten us to where we are. It's another drop in the bucket. This is what is part of the problem. Now, obviously, there are bigger problems, like 70 million people voting for a sociopathic narcissist, but where do people get a lot of their information from? They get a lot from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, A lot of people follow these people like Candace Owens and Ivanka Trump and the rest of them, and they eat this stuff up. And when you eat up too much of it, it starts to rot your brain. And we have a lot of Americans who have been suffering from brain rot the last 4 years. And unfortunately, it's going to continue to get worse. Now, there is some good news, which is, again, like I said, the silver lining led to a lot of people go out and vote, and now the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House. You know, there are some things that hopefully we can get done politically now in terms of another stimulus package, bigger checks directly to Americans. Maybe we can expand on health care. We can obviously go back to, at the bare minimum, the Obama tax brackets we had. Who knows where else we can expand. But the good thing is we now have the ball back on our side of the court, and we can start playing offense. But make no mistake, the fight is still ahead of us. Trump will be gone still on January 20th. These insane events that have happened today will do nothing to stop that. But the fight continues because we have 70 million Americans who just 2 months ago thought it was a good idea to vote for a sociopath. And no matter how many times you try to reason with them, it doesn't work. You can't reason with the unreasonable. There is no amount of evidence you can show someone who doesn't care about evidence. These people feel as though they are fighting a war, and when you feel as though you are fighting a war, the truth must be the first casualty. We're going to beat you into submission at the ballot box, election after election. We will try our hardest to educate those closest to us, our friends and our family, to hopefully help them see the error of their ways. But these last 4 years, I have never been so proud to be on the right side of history every second of the way.